This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis. It's the Morning Majlis.
Hi everybody, good morning. Welcome back to the program. And we're talking about a major initiative by Sharjah's The Big Heart Foundation, a global humanitarian organization dedicated to helping refugees and people in need around the world. And we're particularly going to discuss the Sharjah International Award for Refugee Advocacy and Support. And we're happy to have with us this morning Alya Obaid Al Musaiebi, Head of Media at the Big Heart Foundation. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having us today.
Thanks for joining us. So for the listeners, can you talk to us about the Sharjah International Award for Refugee Advocacy and Support? What are the goals and objectives?
Sure. So Sharjah International Award is basically it's an award that we launched back in 2017. It is supported by His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Muhammad Al Qasimi and his wife, Her Highness Sheikh Jawahar bint Muhammad Al Qasimi. The award is to recognize, impressive humanitarian efforts, local ones throughout, worldwide. Some organizations or some NGOs, they have impressive and strong humanitarian efforts in helping refugees and easing up those struggles on life for them, but no one hears about them. So here comes our role to award them and support them to give more for the refugees and the needy populations.
Now, talk to us about the nominations that have been received, because so far we do know that 213 nominations have come in, but the most this year is coming in from Nigeria.
Yes, that's correct. So if we're going to speak at first about how these nominations get nominated or assessed, the Sharjah Award is usually awarded to legally registered non-profit organizations that are working on social and humanitarian activities for a minimum of 1 year prior to nomination. In addition, their values and conduct must be compatible with what we follow here in the Big Heart Foundation and the UNHCR. These organizations, they can choose to self-nominate or be nominated by other individuals or organizations. These nominees, they are evaluated based on the impact of their work in bringing about tangible benefits to target communities within refugee and displaced persons operations. Innovative practices that boost overall sustainability of programs and project activities, gender sensitivity in the planning and implementation of these projects, and demonstrable ability to address humanitarian gaps, especially in emergency situations, are some of the other criteria that are evaluated. As you mentioned, for this year, we have received 213 nominations from 41 different countries, 105 nominations from across Africa and 94 from Asia, representing 49% and 44% respectively of the total number of nominations. In addition of that, Europe, North America, and the rest of the world are represented by 14 nominations, collectively amounting to 7% of the total nominations received this year.
And what makes the Sharjah International Award for Refugee Advocacy and Support popular across the world, and how is it unique and how does it stand out?
I can see that the continued success of the award stems from the unwavering commitment of His Highness the ruler of Sharjah and his wife, Her Highness Sheikh Jawahar bint Muhammad Al Qasimi, in recognizing key humanitarian contributions in refugee advocacy support and community building within Asia, Middle East, and Africa, as well as the expansions and improvements we add to the award on an annual basis, helps a lot in making it reach a wider audience. For example, once we launched the award back in 2017, we were only accepting nominations from Middle East and Asia. 2 years later, we expanded the scope of the award to include the African continent, which hosts 26% of the world's 70 million refugees. Another example is that the previous editions of Sharjah Award targeted sectors like healthcare, education, community and vocational training, as well as emotional development and nurturing of talents. But the The forthcoming edition will expand to include new creative sectors to stimulate the performance of individuals and organizations within the humanitarian arena. Not to forget to mention also all the efforts of our local partners in different countries in spreading the word about the award, which helped us a lot in to reach those impressive humanitarian efforts, which are worth highlighting.
Yeah, and can you talk to us some more about those humanitarian initiatives, those nominations, and the impact that they've had in the countries with which they are enrolled? How are these humanitarian efforts being felt across those countries?
To be honest, there's a process that we follow up with the winners, with the past winners, and we keep on evaluating what are they doing with the award. I mean, it's their right to do whatever, but we like to follow up, like how's the impact of this award in improving their humanitarian efforts. One of the examples I have in my mind is our winner from Malaysia, who won the award back in 2018. The name of the NGO was Dignity for Children, and I remember 1 year later, after receiving the award, they were able to open their first owned 6 floors learning building for educating refugees in Malaysia, and they named it the Big Heart Building. Oh. They've been in this field for more than 25 years, but this is the first fully owned building that is owned by the organization themselves.
Last year we saw Tumaini Letu, the non-profit organization based in Malawi, winning it. So what does this mean for the winners when they receive this 500,000 dirham grant? Yes, they can create the buildings and they can invest in their own camps and in their own drives. But what does the SIARA award mean to them? How important is this award when they do file in their own nominations? Is Ali with us?
Well, we're having some technical difficulties as well, but this was a great conversation about the sheer impact that the Sharjah's Big Heart Foundation's been having around the world. We've been talking about the 5th edition of the Sharjah International Award for Refugee Advocacy and Support and its concrete impact across the world in countries like South Africa, Ethiopia, the United States, Rwanda, Afghanistan, and Libya as well, to name a few. And according to Mariam Al-Hammadi, director of the Big Heart Foundation, she said the awards highlight the strategic and innovative-driven humanitarian practices across the world. We'd like to thank Alya Obaid Al Musaiebi, head of media at the Big Heart Foundation, for joining us on the program and talking to us about the great impact of the Sharjah International Award for Refugee Advocacy and Support.
That's right. 213 unique humanitarian projects in 41 countries compete for this 5th edition of the Sharjah International Award for Refugee Advocacy and Support. It's they will be granted a 500,000 or it's a 500,000 dirham award. It targets local humanitarian outfits across Asia, Middle East, and Africa. Nigeria tops the list for nominations for the award with 42 entries, followed by Lebanon with 16.
It's great work, isn't it? This award, which has been going on since 2017, to turn the spotlight on outstanding humanitarian interventions by local entities across Asia, Middle East, and Africa, which have led to a positive and a sustainable impact on the lives of refugees, the forcibly displaced, as well as the marginalized communities, improving their access to food, healthcare, education, as well as psychological support. Now we're into the 5th edition and we're looking forward to the awards ceremony and really impressed by the nominations that have come in. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We'll certainly keep you posted about all such big developments, and do stay tuned and share your thoughts on the text lines 4215. Up next, we're talking about when can travel go back to its normal pre-pandemic levels. This is the Morning Majlis on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
The Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
The Morning Majlis isn't the same if we don't mention travel.
Oh, yes.
No.
Or anything related. We're going to talk about Etihad Airways because it expects travel demand to improve in the second half of this year as border restrictions are actually eased and more people are vaccinated, which is giving hopes for a summer travel rebound, hopefully. According to them, there is a very strong intake on forward booking for passenger flights to Seychelles, Moscow, and Casablanca that are resuming at the end of this month.
Yeah, I mean, this is off the back of the discussion and the briefing by the Senior Vice President for Global Sales and Cargo, Martin Drew from Etihad Airways. Now, a couple of things that is leading to the improved sentiments for the year 2021 is the border restrictions being eased as well as the vaccination drives being accelerated. The big question and the big talker is visiting friends and family is going to be the key reason to travel. So many of us haven't seen our loved ones or even very close family members, even friends, for at least a year. For those at least living in hard-hit countries or even countries with the biggest of all lockdowns, such as the United Kingdom, Germany now, France already. That is going to be the key driver, and that's what Martin Drew said will be strong demand. And then they are also saying the strong routes for the time being for that particular sector is going to be Pakistan and Bangladesh. Now, this comes a couple of hours before Pakistan announced new restrictions on countries arriving into passengers from certain countries arriving into the country, because now there's a category list for who can turn up and who has to arrive in the country with a negative PCR test or who cannot turn up at all. So let's see what happens. But another aspect that they did point out is that to go back to pre-pandemic levels, it's not going to be until 2024.
Yeah, they did say that indeed. And some factors, they said, complicated this return to normalcy as far as travel demand is concerned. The Senior Vice President at Etihad Airways for Global Sales and Cargo, Martin Drew, speaking to media, said there's a lack of common global standards on how to lift travel restrictions. He said that's complicated the industry's recovery after the pandemic, but they did expect that there will be an improvement later on this year, but there's a need to be able to validate and verify through a form of a travel pass that is going to be more and more essential moving forward. Etihad said it does not require passengers to be vaccinated, but we're amidst an industry debate on how to set conditions for international travel and to what extent should vaccines play a part as far as being part of the requirements for that.
Yeah, exactly. So let us know on the text lines 4215, where do you think the world of travel to go back to? Do you think you'll be planning your trips anytime soon? I think another point is that North America will be an area that they're considering Etihad to see the big demand. But to be honest, the hassle of going through applications and the hassle of going through these certificates, are they going to be validated, and the restrictions, especially in Canada, for example, or even the UK, where you land and you might have to go through government specific hotels quarantine, where you're spending £2,000, $2,000 for a week quarantine, and then seeing if you're going to be fit and able to head out, even if you're vaccinated. That is just bizarre, and that's going to deter a lot of people from even deciding whether they do want to book their holidays. And we've had several people within our own Pulse team who decided to travel and then were affected by restrictions in the host country or the home country, wherever they call home. And then that just makes things a lot more complicated. And to be honest, I had a few plans of traveling abroad, and then I was just concerned.
Yeah, that is the main concern now.
It is, because the cases were rising right here. And then we've also seen, it was the anniversary of when the restrictions happened here, where there was a big article that popped up again exactly a year on.
Yeah.
People sharing the same screenshot on WhatsApp groups, where the United Arab Emirates had said way back in 2020 that all UAE residents who are abroad can't come back.
Yeah.
And that was scary times.
Actually, speaking of that, when it comes to residents, the National Task Force of the Philippines actually announced that all citizens can now enter the country, revising the recent regulation that allowed only overseas Filipino workers to enter the country. Because on March 17th, the National Task Force of the Philippines said it would suspend foreigners and returning citizens' arrival as the island country battles the new surge of COVID-19 cases. But following this, UAE carriers also announced plans to reduce Manila flight capacity due to restrictions announced by the government. But the regulation was actually reversed by the government this past Saturday, bringing much needed respite to residents. However, a cap of a maximum of 1,500 incoming travelers into the country remains, and foreign nationals are not allowed entry either. And the date has been changed from the previous order of March 20th until April 19th.
Well, I think when it comes to travel, I think now the focus is on those vaccine passports. We're seeing Etihad Airways and Emirates talk about that digital travel pass that was developed by the International Air Transport Association. A lot of countries are talking about this too. The United States, one of Biden's recent executive orders, is assessing the feasibility of linking coronavirus vaccine certificates with other vaccination documents and providing digital versions of them as well. And various governments in the EU are rolling out digital documents and passports showing that citizens have been vaccinated. But the challenge now is creating a document or app that is accepted all around the world, that protects privacy and is accessible to people regardless of their wealth or access to smartphones as well. That is expected to take time, but it's looking like that's going to be the future of travel.
It would be, and then there's also these surprise announcements, such as what Pakistan recently did. In fact, yesterday they imposed a complete ban on travel from 12 countries, which also included South Africa, Rwanda, Tanzania. Remember, Tanzania is a very popular holiday spot for a lot of Pakistanis to go down to in a bid to curb the spike of coronavirus cases, as the country on Sunday recorded over 3,667 cases. When you talk about South Africa, hang on a minute, you just sent your cricket team down there. So, how is this going to work? And this is going to be a bit of a bother for the time being, in terms of how are we going to see the world of travel getting back to normal when we have these surprise restrictions and out of nowhere we have these scenarios. Yes, the travel restrictions are a temporary ban from 23rd of March to 5th of April. But it still is a ban, isn't it? And let's see what happens, though. Do stay tuned to Pulse 95. We've got the news headlines lined up for you, and we shall return right after that, continuing the discussions on the Morning Majlis.
Pulse 95. Between local lines. Notes from the Emirate.
A one-of-a-kind travel experience here in the Emirate. Travelers passing through Sharjah International Airport will soon have the option of a unique experience thanks to a partnership between the Sharjah Public Library and the Sharjah Airport Authority. Because in April, passengers will be able to browse through and choose from thousands of books in different languages available on the first of its kind ebook network in the Middle East while waiting to board their flight at the Sharjah International Airport.
Yeah, really cool ebook service available for passengers here starting April. And it's going to be available for children as well. And travelers don't have to install any apps or even have a data plan to browse and download these books. They can just log on to the free Wi-Fi service available at the Sharjah International Airport. That's when you get a notification on your device for how to connect to this ebook network, and detailed info about the service is also going to be displayed inside the airport. And the SPL as well has plans to offer dedicated spaces that are equipped with tablets for passengers to select and read their favorite titles while maintaining strict and safe COVID-19 protocols as well. So really great to see this collaboration between Sharjah Public Library and the Sharjah Airport Authority as well.
This reminds me of a quote that I've just come across, and this is something that Ronnie would like as well. This is by Mr. Warren Buffett.
Oh,
there
yes.
we go.
And he says, Surround yourself with people that push you to do better. No drama or negativity. Just higher goals and higher motivation. Good times and positive energy.
He's not that Southern.
No?
No, he doesn't have
Good
that.
times.
No jealousy or hate. Yeah, so that's
Hi.
this is it. You know, the fact that you can be given those books and have access to that, they could be your best pals whilst you're waiting for your flight. And the worst wait, no matter what it is, you go through security checks, check in. That wait is bearable. The wait at the boarding gate, that's the most annoying. And this is why they have the business class passenger lounges and first class passenger lounges. But now here at Sharjah Airport, we're going to be blessed with the world of literature, courtesy of this MOU. Now, as part of the MOU, the e-book service will be available for all adult travelers in April, and for children in the last quarter of 2021. Travelers will not need to install any apps or have a data plan to browse and download the books. They can log on to the free Wi-Fi service available at Sharjah International Airport, receive notifications on the smart devices with instructions on how to connect to the ebook network, and then detailed information will be displayed inside the airport. The public library also has plans to offer dedicated spaces equipped with tablets for passengers to select and read their favorite title. This is a great initiative.
Thousands of books in different languages.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to cure your boredom, yeah.
Yeah. So much to choose from.
That's one of the reasons why we chose the Warren Buffett quote, because you know at times you do get negative people in the waiting areas, judgmental eyes staring you down, and maybe your trolley bag is too loud, or their trolley bag is too loud, and your music is too loud as you're listening through the headphones. So yeah, the drama surrounding the boarding gate could be weird and could be intense at times, but now this will keep everyone busy.
Certainly will, and no better opportunity to read a book cover to cover than when you're on those flights or traveling or waiting at the airport. You just have so much time to do it, and really helps get your mind off the hustle and bustle of traveling and having to do various tasks to get on your flight.
Yeah, that is true. And, you know, whenever people say, there's, time runs so quickly these days, you lose track of time all the time. There's only one of the only few ways if time slows down is when you're doing a plank and when you're doing or waiting for your flight at the boarding gates. And these waiting times do seem to be very, very long whenever you have to go through them. Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. Up next, we shall continue the discussions on the program, and we'll keep you posted about what's happening. So stay tuned to Pulse 95.
Pulse 95. Between local lines. Notes from the Emirate.
Culture is the arts elevated to a set of beliefs. If we are to preserve culture, we must continue to create it. These are some popular quotes surrounding the world of culture. And this is one of the reasons why we are also talking about it, is because the Sharjah Heritage Days has kicked off, and we're into day 3. Now, today will be the day 3, and Rania Saadi is planning her calendar in terms of when she should go, and we're inviting you guys.
I'm thinking about today, yeah.
Going today?
Maybe, yeah.
Well,
go today.
Go on down and check it out. It's in the heart of Sharjah. I was there.
Heritage area.
I was there yesterday.
Yeah.
I was there well before the opening hours, by the way, so early bird. But yeah, it was great. It's a great place to sort of to indulge in multi-cuisines on offer, and also check out some performances, because there's a couple of countries that are doing their folklore showcase, which is also Kazakhstan and India. Yeah,
and there's so much happening at the Sharjah Heritage Days. And before we get into the other countries participating, I'm amazed at how much I'm learning about Emirati culture as well. They got this game. It's like chess. It's called Al-Dama. And they've been showcasing that game as part of the Sharjah Heritage Days. It's sort of like a chess game where you have 16 pieces each for 2 players, and the pieces don't move like chess. A piece can only move 1 square ahead, straight or sideways, or make alternative jumps between the opponent's pieces. But we've been seeing a lot of excitement tapping into Emirati folklore, games, heritage, and of course the food as well. Not to mention all the participating countries, namely Tajikistan, which has been highlighting the wealth of its ancient culture and introducing the UAE community to its popular traditions and crafts as well.
I'm looking at all the dances and things that are being showcased. They're just amazing. While instantly recognizable with its use of thin wooden sticks, most people are unfamiliar with the fact that Ayalla dancing, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Is inscribed on UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. And it recognizes this as among the significant social rituals that contribute to the spirit of dignity and honor of the coastal and domestic social groups and communities. And featuring 2 rows of men who dance facing each other. It's not the Yola, right? It's the Ayalla.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different. And it's guided through songs or poetry from a leader designated as Al-Abu, or the father. While the men create a kind of a dual chorus, and they wave the sticks in a rhythmic fashion. And one such Al-Abu is Khamis bin Al-Suwaidi, a heritage arts expert and a key figure in promoting and preserving traditional dances in the UAE, who is also leading those performances and giving workshops at the 18th edition of the Sharjah Heritage Days.
Yeah, and he said that Ayalla is storytelling in dance form, as the dancers take turns chanting poetry and singing songs about love, war, praise, and tribute as well. He said it truly embodies the spirit and essence of Emirati identity in the past and continuing in the present day. And while the dance might seem uniform and standard in movement to a regular viewer, he said there are moves and nuances that form a narrative and a story, like the drummer moving towards one side of the dancer and raising the sticks in a warlike fashion. It really tells a story about conflict, about friendship, and that's what they're doing. They're telling a story. It's marvelous.
Certainly is, and we will keep you posted about what you can do and check out, because it is going to be held under the theme, and it is in fact being held under the theme Cultural Heritage Gathers. There's 500 activities, 80 different stores selling traditional products. Republic of Montenegro is the guest of honor this year, and if you want to check it out, you can do so until the 10th of April. It is running from 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. on weekdays, and then the timings are extended until 11 p.m. on weekends. Great place to catch up with some of your friends, outdoor arena to walk around and soak in the cultural offerings of the Heritage Days. Let us know if you've been down there, and what are your thoughts on the event this year. Stay tuned to Pulse 95. We shall be back again after a bit of an interval, and we'll continue the discussions here on the program. And up next, we're going to be talking about the Sheikh Zayed Book Award. What's going on? All of this will be discussed right here on the Morning Majlis.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.